I'm here at Innovation Forum Sustainable Landscapes and Commodities Forum, and I'm going to be speaking to some of the participants and panelists from the 2 days of conference here in Amsterdam. So it's your first time at Innovation Forum event. What have you thought so far?
I'm very impressed. I had come here with an expectation of a really formal event. It's not that, and I'm quite grateful for that. I've had honest conversations with so many people, and trust me, in a day, I know so much more about this than I did in the morning.
First of all, this is my very first Innovation Forum event. So it's been nice to come in here and not only see the quality of the participation. You have a lot of very impressive and thoughtful minds in the room. Secondly, also the diversity of the participation. The fact that you've brought voices in from smallholders, from others to bring that perspective in.
Really nice to be in the room with all of these different companies as well. As NGOs, it's really nice to hear where business are up to so that we can help look at that kind of practical approach to some of these challenges as well.
Actually, I found it very interesting. It's a bit spooky because it's under Chatham House rule. The discussions are quite candid, but it's a big room. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit unsettling, but that's very good. The breakout sessions were very interesting. The new fifth room breakout session was a good way of really the Chatham House rule in Chatham House rule in a way.
This year I found it really interesting. I think, especially with the EUDR coming out, I think there's a lot more conversation and a lot more kind of practical conversation happening, which is really good. This EUDR has been something that NGOs have been pushing for a number of years, and it's brilliant that this is in place now. So in terms of it being the first world law on deforestation, then the impact for that could be huge.
Even if we tried not to speak about the UDR, it came up into the discussion, so it shows, I think, how much we all care about it or how much we're afraid of it. But maybe the good side of it is that because it started on the wrong foot, everybody's going to make extra efforts now to try to find out how we're going to actually make it work. Maybe today, maybe in 1-2 years' time, 3 years' time. Maybe that will be the good thing coming out of it.
I agree, and I always said that we are reading the same book, right? Even EU, everyone is reading the same book of sustainability, but in a different chapter. So Indonesia probably in chapter 1, and EU already chapter 10, but we are having in the same book. So we are aiming at the right direction now, but how to reach at the same pace for this part.
Everyone wants to talk about it, everyone's concerned about it, and unfortunately we know very little, or we still have a real lack of clarity about exactly how implementation is supposed to work. I think the other part of the conversation here, actually, the question around carbon accounting and how do we do that.
So having a design for the forum that seems to have a pace which is quite active. Short sessions, trying very much to minimize long interventions, and trying to make sure that there's space for the kind of interactions and corridor conversations that are so valuable in these spaces.
I always like these events because I think the conversation's really honest and transparent. I think because Innovation Forum, sets some requirements for us not to just pontificate or do the usual corporate spiel, it allows us to talk more frankly about the nuances of some of these issues that we're all grappling with, and more to be done, to be adopting, to be learning. It's really useful to be here and hear from different players about how they're approaching the same kinds of questions that we're asking at GA.
Where to start? We covered so much ground in 2 days. The way we always set up our events is to have maximum audience engagement and really bring them into the conversations. But I have to say I was quite blown away by how much we got from our audience, not just our expert speakers and panelists.
I would agree. It was great seeing people being prepared to share their experience. Mm-hmm. We were under the Chatham House rule, of course, so I think that it just means that people are able to use their own experience to frame their discussions rather than thinking about what their perhaps corporate viewpoint is.
Exactly.